Hey, RAD Company, RAD 27 back here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the brand new Giant trailer that was released yesterday. I've already put out 2 videos today, so I'm saving this for tomorrow. So if you're like, Rad, why haven't you commented on it yet? It's because I don't want to spam you guys with too many videos. I have plenty of time to explain everything to you up until the release of our game in November. Anyway, besides that, I wanted you to take a look at this first image inside our trailer that we get. We're actually in the animal testing labs. We're by Teleporter A. I'll even show you later on in this breakdown here where A is and where it is all relative. But I do like the fact that we're getting a retexture of the whole map, and we're seeing everything before the zombies destroyed Doris in our original timeline. Now, I'm going to explain all of our timelines. I have a really cool graphic that I made for you guys to try and make this make more sense to you. So anyway, let us get into the rest of the trailer, but it's good to point out, just keep in mind that this Doris can be a little different. All the Easter eggs are going to be different. All the guns are going to be different. There's going to be a lot of callbacks to other different things. So be prepared for a lot of new things in this map, even though it's just a remake of the Doris we know and love. Next, I want you guys to understand where this is taking place and when. And what is important is this clock right here. The clock stops. So you see some kind of manipulation of time happen. But what's interesting about this clock is it stops at 1:15, so it's our typical Doris one. The seconds hand is a little bit off. But what that might mean is our Origins characters are now breaking the first timeline. This is what this trailer is showing, that you saw that shake and the color blur and stuff like that, and time stopped. Well, maybe originally time just stopped, but because of that color blurring, that's very possible that our Origins characters jumped into this timeline. And again, I have a graphic that's going to make things make more sense later on. Also, at this point in time, Maxis and Samantha are being teleported to the moon. You hear the end of the radio in Doris, where Richtofen betrays Maxis after they create the first Hellhound, and he teleports both Maxis and Samantha. You're hearing the end of that radio. As soon as that radio ends, then time would have progressed normally. But because this is different, because of the endings of Origins and the Easter eggs that we completed, things have changed. I want us to look at how our Origins characters enter these rooms. Notice how they're all coming from different areas. Dempsey came in straight. They each came from 3 different flanking opportunities, which begs the question that they could have possibly all teleported into this map. Now, you might say there's only 3 teleporters, but you forget about the mainframe. That's originally how our characters got to Doris, was teleporting to the mainframe. So let's think about this. We could have Dempsey at the mainframe, Takio at C, and Nikolai at B. It would all make sense for them to be there, and then Richtofen teleports from the normal teleporter we see in the trailer. The Origins Richtofen teleports. Right here is a key point in the trailer that we see a lot of things take place with this simple nod. Everybody is on the same page, and they understand each other, and this shows us we have a very cooperative group, which is something we haven't seen. But furthermore, Sam is just taking control of the zombies. She just fell into the MPD on Moon, and now that set of events is in motion. This is what they were talking about. Now on screen, we see the teleporter activating. Richtofen is just teleported in. And then our characters will taunt Nazi Richtofen to not open the machine, knowing full well that he will want to open the machine, which is very interesting from the fact that they're baiting him. This all seems like a trap to get Richtofen. And maybe not originally they wanted to kill Richtofen, Nazi Richtofen, but Origins Richtofen, as you can see on screen, is disgusted. You see the hatred in his eyes for his Nazi self. You see how angry and disgusted he is at Nazi Richtofen. This is a major fact in the idea of where we're going with the storyline. Origins characters are good guys that somehow figured out the events of our original storyline. So that's something interesting to take note of. Also take note of the blood vials on Origins Richtofen. It has the Mob of the Dead characters' prisoner numbers on them. Now, one thing a lot of people have been suggesting is, well, as soon as the radio ended in Doris, who's to say that the timeline didn't progress like normal? Why didn't it just, maybe our Origins characters influence it in the right way? And as you're seeing on screen, this is why. Nazi Richtofen is not dead in the original storyline, all right? You can't think about this too linearly. If you do, then you'll never be able to really understand the zombie storyline. Even though my picture is going to make it a little linear, just so you guys can grasp the concepts, time is not linear in these worlds or in other dimensions. In our world, time is linear. We can't move forward and back through time. But in other dimensions, the 4th dimension, time you can move forward and back. The last thing I want to point out here before we get into the breakdowns of the timelines is all our characters jumping at teleporter A. I'm showing you on screen comparing the two, the same location, so you can kind of get an idea where they are. And maybe we won't start in the mainframe. It'd be interesting to start in a new room, so I'd be really interested to have us start at teleporter A and see what they did with the map. So the giant map has a lot of excitement. It makes perfect sense in the storyline, and there's a lot we can do with it. So let's get into my images on screen. All right, this might be a lot to take in at once, but it's a doozy. So let's talk about this. I have the middle of this timeline labeled First Universe. The First Universe takes us all the way from Nocturne and Toten all the way through Buried. I also have Ascension and 5 happening at the same time, and Nuketown and Moon happening at the same time. This is our original storyline. So let's just pretend, from World at War all the way through Black Ops 2, this was our storyline. Everything happened in this universe. Now, while this universe is going through time as it is, and all the events are unfolding, we have a second universe. And in our second universe, we have Only the Curse Survived. We have our Mob of the Dead characters, and then we have the Shadows of Evil characters. Now, they are both in their own timeline directly related. Now, it doesn't matter when that's happening because it's not, as of right now, directly correlated with the first universe. There's no causation, there's no influence on the other universe yet. We don't know, and I bet my top dollar that eventually the second universe is going to impact our first universe in major ways. Now you'll see there's a third universe, the Origins universe. Now, it's very possible that Origins universe might exist in our second universe, so that might seem a little confusing, but just think about it. Origins could be somewhere on the timeline in the second universe, but we have no reason to believe that, and the whole Curse Will Survive is a whole idea in one specific universe. So that's why I separated them on this chart. Now, this is the most basic idea and understanding of the multiverse theory that I'm putting out, that I put out before. You can check my video out on screen now. You can click on that, come back to this to really understand what multiverses are, and it's all to do with quantum physics. So this is why it's kind of a really abstract idea to explain the storyline. But let's continue on forward. In our third universe here, you see how it progresses, how we do our Easter egg, right? So in our third universe, we end up finishing the Easter egg, get the Origins ending. My dad has a plan, and what Max's plan was to rip our Origins characters, where we teleport at the end of the Origins Easter egg, and we interrupt the timeline, the first universe's timeline. We get sent back in time before Shinonuma, but Verrucht has already happened, and Nocturne and Toten has already happened. That's why our characters interrupt the cycle. A certain chain of events must happen, is what Nikolai says, which is very interesting. They still need to set off the chain of events of zombies for some reason. We really don't understand why they are continuing, why they didn't just go all the way back and try and stop everything from happening. But maybe they can't. Maybe this is where they can start. And what that does is it creates another universe. You see the green arrow. I haven't labeled this universe yet because we don't know much about it, but that's where Giant Zombie starts. It's very possible that we start a brand new timeline, or, stay with me here, or we rewrite the timeline on screen. So once our characters come back in time, we start getting rid of and redoing all the maps. So Shinonuma does not happen anymore. Giant Zombies, after the Giant Zombies map, something else might happen instead of Shinonuma and Doris and Kino as we go through. What has happened because of this is Richtofen's grand scheme has been undone. There's no grand scheme anymore. They've killed Nazi Richtofen, so transit doesn't happen anymore. Black Ops, all that stuff doesn't happen. But understand, it did happen. It did happen at some point. It's not like, oh, what was the point of the other games? They happened. It's a really abstract thought, and I know you guys might have some issues. So take a little time to process what's on screen while I get the next image. Now, this picture is my personal belief of how the storyline is going. This makes more sense to me because in our fourth universe, in the Origins cutscene, in the outro, they said, I wish our heroes were real. In this world, no zombies exist, possibly. None of these stories, all this is just a game in this fourth universe. But when they say my dad has a plan, and that's Dr. Maxis, he is now interrupting the third universe and pulling them into the first universe to try and save the first universe. Because of Richtofen's grand scheme, there's a rip in space-time. Buried happens. The world's doomed. Everything goes to shit. It's game over. Because of Buried, that universe got destroyed. Either Maxis sacrifices everybody else or Richtofen ruins everything. That is what happens in our first universe storyline. Now, again, let's not forget about our second universe. Some shape, way, or form, that second universe, it hasn't been yet to be revealed to us, impacts the other universes. Because of all the weapons of 115 that's being distorted through our rip in space-time. If none of this is making sense to you, please, please, please go through my theory videos. I have a bunch of theory videos I've been going through lately and explaining things, and you'll get a very firm concept of what's going on. This is one of the best timelines to date right now, explaining how it works, how sequentially it'll work. Some people have different beliefs of how this stuff works, but we don't know yet. It's not factual. This is the best we got right now, where we can't say for sure how everything goes. What's interesting, too, is that the Mob of the Dead universe repeats endlessly until the cycle is broken. So it's very possible that we have an endless loop going on in the second universe until we have the Weasel kill everybody, and that might allow for the direct sequel of Shadows of Evil. And then Shadows of Evil might have the same thing happen, where maybe one character has to break the cycle. Only the curse survived in that universe has an impact on our other universes. So I hope this made some sort of sense. In summary, we have our original timeline. We go through zombies normally like we've always played it, up until the point of buried where everything is ruined. Once everything is ruined and buried, Origins happens. Because of Origins, we now get a chance to fix history, to redo the first universe. The way that's possible is because the fourth universe takes our characters from Origins and puts them in the first universe. The second universe with Mob of the Dead, we don't know how that impacts it yet. All we know is that 115 distorts space and time, and all of our items, weapons, machines are all being ripped from different universes and passed throughout all of our different games. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did appreciate this breakdown. This takes a lot to think of and try and get you guys to understand all the little visuals. So if you can leave a rating, I'd appreciate it if you have the time. If not, I totally understand. Tell me your thoughts on this. Tell me if this made any sense to you. I'm sorry if it didn't. I'm going to try and give you as much on-screen visuals as possible, but it's a complicated storyline. And I'm not even explaining the full story. This is just the timeline, the sequence of events that happen. So I want to try and get this to be as clear as possible to you guys, because I hear so many people saying stuff, and a lot of people in the community don't quite understand the lore of zombies as well as others. There's very few I hold in such high regard that understand what's going on with zombies. So this is one of the best timelines you're going to find out there. This one definitely explains a lot. And if there is flaws, I'll make a new video. It always happens, guys. I'm not saying this is flawless. No, this will be disproven. I guarantee you this will be disproven as time goes on. We're going to figure out different ways they cross and intersect, and we're going to figure out how Mob of the Dead and them directly relate to the first universe. It's all going to make sense as time goes on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe for more Black Ops 3 Zombie News information, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.